collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
Greetings, friends of the A Collision with Purpose movement. Wow, we're in May.
Already. Wow.
Already. Wow. Welcome to the A Collision with Purpose podcast, Bridging Generations, Voices of Men in a Changing World. I am Dr. Laxley Stephenson. This groundbreaking podcast delves into the multifaceted experiences of men across different generations in an area where societal norms and expectations are rapidly evolved. This show offers young and older men a unique platform to voice their challenges, triumphs, and perspectives.
So each episode aims to foster understanding and bridge the gap between generations, exploring themes ranging from masculinity and mental health to career dynamics and personal relationships. By bridging together voices from varied age groups, the show sheds light on the commonalities and the differences in the male experience, encouraging open dialogue and mutual learning, whether it's a teenager grappling in the pressures of social media or a senior reflecting on the changing definitions of manhood. Bridging Generations is committed to uncovering the real stories of men navigating the complexities of a changing world. I'm Juan Marcel, one of your moderators and co-hosts for this wonderful show. Doc, what is going on? And this new month, what's going on?
Month of May, right? So this is a big month. We've been talking about legacy. We've been talking about shredding shackles and, get all that good stuff, right? And just upliftment. And we're going to continue that conversation today. We're going to continue to talk, the legacy talk. We have two guests on tonight. We have one from Jamaica, principal, councillor, businessman, entrepreneur, Garfield James. We have our own Miss Donna Thompson. So we're going to talk about all kinds of good stuff, in-service work, doing wonderful things all around. So what you got going on?
Man, just first of all, just making it adjusting to this time moving so fast. We're just a few weeks out from my birthday, so I'm looking forward to that on the 24th. Definitely excited about that. Other than that, of course, just the daily grind, you've been in education and just working to make a difference in the lives of people and students that I encounter. So it's a lot going on, and we're at the time now where graduations prom, graduation, ceremonies, all of those things are going on. So it's a busy month.
New generation of leaders coming out of these colleges, universities.
Absolutely. Yes,
That's
yes.
a powerful thing.
It's an awesome thing. It's a good thing that it's still happening. I was watching. For those that don't know, to our audience, I don't know how many watched A Different World, late '80s and into the '90s. But the cast from Different World has been traveling throughout the country, going to different HBCUs. On this campaign to promote and market and advocate for enrollment into HBCUs. It's just to help these schools out, and they've been getting an overwhelming response from all generations. It's like multi-generational folks showing up, just being impacted from the show, and it's doing a great thing for a lot of the HBCUs in this country, in this nation.
Wow, powerful stuff, powerful stuff, powerful stuff. How you doing with your commitment? You made a commitment but before we talk about the commitment, let's say we're missing a couple of our regular moderators, and Xavier will be on later. He had some commitment at a university at that, right? He's doing some work at a university, and Augusta was not able to make it tonight. But he'll be back on next week, of course. We'll be back on.
Yes.
Yeah. But so what's going on with your commitment?
So the commitment, one of the commitments was we were working on a lock-in with our students. The lock-in has been pushed back to this summer. Ran into some challenges with just time and commitments. And now we're in testing time at the school. So we've been kind of had to shift the focus the past 2 weeks, especially this week and the week after. We've been focusing on testing. So the commitment is still, we still had, what we have been doing, doing like mini series or mini breaks, sitting down, pulling our students in, sitting down, having conversations with them and talking with them. Another piece that we've added, which it just came up, was conversation with parents. We actually heard from our parents, and their concern was like, we want to be a part of the conversation. We want to be a part of this movement. So we've been able to actually, a good thing is partnering with parents, getting them involved in this, the lock-ins and just the different events that we have going on. I have emails just going off of parents emailing every day saying, hey, Mr. Smith, I want to volunteer. What do I need to do? I want to show up. I want to be there. So that's a good thing that we have. That's one of our greatest stakeholders in this whole process are the parents. So even though it's been pushed back, we still have folks showing up saying, hey, I want to be a part of this process and have a seat at the table.
Well, it must be a collaborative effort, right? And parents, students, and families from all around.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a community, right? It's a community. So it's a whole push effort. We all got to get involved, don't we?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, we're working on a Collision with Purpose Learning Academy / Institute. That is real work, big work, and it's going to take some time for it to manifest in the way we want to see it. But it's work in progress. We're working it, and we have a commitment to see it through. So big stuff happening there. We're still in the business of giving scholarships, and a big thing we're going to announce tonight. And I believe it's a good time. It's a very good time to bring on our own Miss Donna Thompson. We're going to bring her on, and she's going to talk about, we're all about in service and doing that kind of work. And
Yeah.
she's going to introduce a new initiative that we're taking on at Global Humanity Network. So let's give Donna our nice drum roll, right? And bring her on. Let's give her that drum roll. Boom, 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 boom. And here is Donna.
Bop, bop.
I'm here for
Donna.
Hi. Good evening. Good evening.
Hey there.
How are you all doing this evening?
We are doing great.
Doing well. Doing well.
We can't complain. And Donna, just first of all, give us an overview about your organization, Global Humanity Network, and then we'll talk about this new initiative that we're going to jump into this summer.
Okay. So Global Humanity Network, it's a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization here in the States. And we focus on serving basically the underserved communities where, of course, no one's really paying attention to, right? But what's great about Global Humanity Network is that we have several very committed members who volunteer their time, their skills. We have doctors, we have just everyone that you can possibly think of that has great skill sets that volunteer their time in this organization to giving back to the underserved communities and trying to help empower those communities to where they're able to help themselves as well. So not just that we go in and we give to the communities, but we try to build up the communities by rallying the members of the community as well, so that they can be a part of their community and the growth and sustainability of their community. So that's what we do. We have been in operation, I would say three years, a little bit over 3 years now. And we have done so much work in our young age as a nonprofit organization. And we truly are international because we have kind of touched a little bit of, everywhere in the world. But with that, we have our big initiative that is coming up, which it's going to be our 5K walkathon. This is our actual 3rd year that we're doing our 5K walkathon. And, this is something where you can be a part of this, where you can join us from anywhere you are and just walk with us, right? We do have sponsorship forms. You can have someone sponsor you. And even if you can't walk and you just want to donate, you can donate to us. But more importantly, what is so important about this year's walkathon is that the initiative that we are looking to focus on this year is to actually provide what we call the black tank, water tanks for schools in Jamaica that is underserved, and sanitary towels for the girls. Because once again, sanitary towels for the girls, it's a huge thing. If the girls don't have sanitary towels, they're not attending school during those period of time in the month when they're having to go through those hygiene personal cycles, right? So it's a big thing. They don't have it, they can't afford it, and they're not going to school. And we would like to be able to bridge the gap for some of these children. And definitely with the water tanks, some of the schools, they don't have running water. If you don't have running water, of course, it's going to be unsanitary, right? You're talking about, if you have bacteria buildup and things of that nature, just everything that's sanitary that possibly could be happening. So this walkathon this year is very important for us to raise the funds to be able to help bridge some of those gaps. And we're looking at, I believe our target range is right at $35,000 for this year for this initiative.
So
And
how can our viewers get involved?
So you can either, there's several ways. You can Zelle us. If you'd like to donate, you can Zelle us at globalhumanitynetwork.com. And you can also, we do have Cash App. So you can also send us donations via Cash App. Or we also have a sponsorship form that we can share with you on our website as well. You can have access to the sponsorship form. So if you'd like to walk, you can walk, or you could just donate. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, so they can donate, and they can also get involved, right? And get other folks to sponsor them as well, right?
Yes.
So any individual can walk and seek sponsorship And so it's that type of process where we want it to be as many people involved as possible, right? And so forth. And how many schools are we looking at supporting with this initiative in Jamaica? How many schools? At a minimum, how many schools?
At a minimum, we're looking at a minimum 5 schools.
And
the reason why I'm saying a minimum of 5, because we're looking to provide at least 2 1,000-gallon water tanks for each school.
right. And we're also looking to, and that is not the only initiative, right? There are other initiatives involved as well. You talked about the sanitary pads, and who's to say the amount of schools we will be supporting, because those kids, those young girls out there, they really have an issue with that. We've visited the schools in Jamaica, and that's a big need out there, right?
Yes.
It's a huge need.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. One. Do you have any questions about this 5K fun walkathon?
So I noticed, yes, that you mentioned that for those who are interested, they can just, of course, they still register and they can just walk with you all. So what does that mean exactly? Like would they go to a park that's near them, or like how does that work?
So you can definitely go to a park that is near you. You can start your own little walk group, and you can go to a park that is near you. If you are in the Atlanta region, we will be walking at the Alexander Park in Lawrenceville. Our meeting time is at 7 a.m. in the morning. So you're more than welcome to come out and join us at the Alexander Park in Lawrenceville. And then we also have groups in New York that will be walking. We have groups in Florida, California. And if you're not in any of those states where any of our members are, you can definitely, connect with us and start your own walk group. More than likely what happens is that we will have, kind of like it's interactive, where we go live on the morning of our walk. And then everyone you get to chime in with each other on our Facebook page. You get to go live and say where you are, and we kind of interact that way as well. So we can see each other and where we're walking from.
Yes, indeed. And not to mention that this is a international movement. It's global. We have schools in Jamaica participating. In fact, our guest that will be coming on in the next segment, he'll be talking about that as well as part of the conversation we'll be having with him. So I really encourage anyone who's listening and watching this program to get involved. This is our most important initiative. Water. You can't have enough of it. And there is a problem, an issue with water in Jamaica. And we can't afford to have our students not having clean water. So that's why this is so important. That's why we're doing those black tanks, and we're doing a 1,000 gallon. And the intent is to do at least 2 per schools, and to do as many schools as possible, to supply as many schools as possible. So, just join us in supporting this initiative. There's no initiative more important. Recently, I was in Jamaica and I saw the problem firsthand. I experienced it firsthand. Pipes in different areas, no dry, empty, no water. So that's why this is so important that we're on board with this and getting this done. Donna, is there anything else that you want to share with us?
I think that's really, the gist of what we have going on right now that is so important with this walkathon, is that we really need your support so that we can achieve the goal, so that we can provide for these children. Because, like I said, once again, Global Humanity Network, we're all about serving the communities, the underserved communities. And when we say underserved communities, that's where they don't have resources, they don't have help, and they need help. And that's where we're coming in, trying to bridge that gap where we can do something to help these communities. So it's really important. Your support is really important to have this done. And I also want to say one thing. Another thing is that every single penny of your donation goes towards the specific initiatives that we are doing. So none of your donation go towards administrative cost or anything of that nature in the organization. Every single penny that you donate, 100% goes towards our initiatives. So that's very important.
And I should also add, not just to the initiative, we don't pay for any labor at Global Humanity Network. All of that is taken care where the work is done. So we're paying for material costs to get it there, because we believe that we need to get the local folks involved in any initiative that we're doing. It's not just Global Humanity Network doing the, sourcing the monies for material, but labor is normally provided on site. So great stuff there, Donna. We really appreciate you coming on and explaining that whole process. It's so important. We're launching that initiative tonight, as a matter of fact, and that's what we just did. So we'll be sending out these sponsorship forms starting tonight to our friends, and our goal again is $35,000 US, and I know that is something we can do. We've done it before, just that this time around the needs are even greater, because we're looking at supporting multiple schools in Jamaica, different parts of Jamaica as well, all over. So right. Yes. So Juan, do you want to add anything else before we take a quick break?
I just want to say this is major, changing, like you said before, the trajectory of a lot of families. $1 at a time, one walk, one step at a time. I should say that, one step at a time with this walkathon.
All right. Major. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be having an exciting, impactful conversation with our guest, and we're going to bring him on with that drum roll. And Donna, if you want to stay on to be part of the conversation, you can. You're welcome to stay on. But we're going to bring on our guest after a brief intro video. So we're going to roll the video, okay?
Collision with purpose, in pursuit of purpose.
right, welcome back. Bridging Generations, Voice of Men in a Changing World. And tonight we have the distinct pleasure to have a conversation with one of those change leaders. It was a change agent, none other than Mr. Garfield James, from rural farmer to high school principal to counselor, businessman, entrepreneur, a man who wears many, many hats. So I'm not going to say too much about him. We're going to bring him on. Let's bring him on with a drum roll. Here he is. Okay. I'm going to ask you to unmute your phone there, sir. There we go.
Good evening, Dr. Laxley, and good evening to your co-host, Donna. It's always a pleasure. To your listeners, it's a privilege to be on with you. And I'm happy that I got the opportunity to do so. However, I'm not necessarily happy that I have to do the streaming using the cell phone. But somehow the camera on the laptop
Having some technical difficulties here. Just bear with us. You know how the thing works, the internet thing. It's not always kind to us. So, Mr. James, can you hear us?
I'm hearing you loud and clear, Doctor. I was there actually making a presentation. I thought all of you were listening tentatively.
No, we couldn't hear you. Couldn't hear you.
Right.
Couldn't hear you. Couldn't hear you. So.
Really coming through the cell phone. How are you hearing me clearly?
Just now. Can you hear Mr. James?
Yeah, I'm hearing you clearly. I'm hearing every single word you're saying. Hi, Donna. How are you doing?
I am well, Mr.
Okay.
James. How are you?
I'm doing great. Mr. Co-host, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. How about yourself?
Doc, are you hearing me, Doc?
I'm hearing you now. Hearing you now. I'm hearing you loud and clear now.
Okay. I'm good. Is it the internet on your side? Because my side is really good.
No, I'm hearing everybody else. I just couldn't hear it. So every now and then you would cut out.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're working with it. Let's do it. Let's do it. As long as the audience, the viewers are in touch with what you're saying, that's what's most important. Because we're hearing you on and off. But you know, there's this thing here from rural farmer to high school principal. What does that mean?
Well, when we speak of rural, it's a global concept, and globally it would be understood to be developing certain challenges in terms of infrastructure. Doing farming, ended up moving from doing peasant farming in a sense into education. And hence you have it from being a rural farmer to a principal. There really is a transition from being a farmer. Really, I have a passion for farming. And having attended high school, really my vocational choice at the time was actually agriculture. Because so many persons view agriculture as somewhat to do with peasant farming. You know, maybe on the hillside, you're putting a few crops that are seasonal, etc. But the bigger picture is that all of us have to eat. And the food industry is a $1 trillion industry, you know. So it's a serious era. It carries the sciences, it carries the technology. And, you know, we need, even from where we are, need to start look at farming in a bigger way where we can encourage bright minds, because there's a tendency to think that is only persons who are not doing well on the academic side who tends to want to take on these type of options. But really and truly, we should promote a system that facilitates the type of understanding that you can go into areas such as farming and be as successful as somebody in computing or engineering or any other field. So gone are the days when we look at farming as something that is not something to aspire to. So it has always been a passion for me, still remains a passion. And it's something that I would continue to do and would encourage anybody at any high school or college level or university to take on. Because it is really something that can create economic growth, economic wealth, and it can transform communities. So pretty much that's what occurred. You know, that was my first passion, and I ended up through a particular educator being encouraged also to take on the idea of education, of becoming a teacher. And I ventured into that particular career choice, and I've also done very well because I believe in passion, I believe in purpose. And once you choose to do something, I think you should seek to do it to the best of your ability so that you can always go up the rungs of the ladder to the point where you become successful. And success means you're driving a vehicle that will be able to guide others into a path of happiness, a path of wealth, a path of success for themselves and families. Hence, I am where I am today in terms of from a rural farmer to a principal or an
You
educator.
you know, I had to start with that question because I'm looking at this book here, and that is the headline. That's your headline. from, 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 from rural to high school principal. Purpose that is well served is a purpose that positively impact others. Those are your words. Those are your words. So I thought it was fitting to start with that, and that just look what you had to add to that, you know, and so well said. Appreciate that. So Juan and Donna, feel free to jump in. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Mr. You know, Prince, I don't know what to call him. Mr. Principal, Counselor, he's so many things. But we need to settle on something. It's confusing. This man wears so many different titles, has so different responsibilities. So feel free to choose any one of them as you're talking to him. The father.
I'm trying to figure out, you know, where to start. I had a couple of questions, but you sparked something when you were talking about agriculture. I have a friend, a fellow educator, and she actually got her degree in forestry.
Hello?
At the University of, can you hear me?
Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay.
So
a question was posed for me just now?
He's asking.
Yeah, so
he's still asking it. Mm-hmm.
So I was just saying that it's interesting you brought up agriculture because I think especially in the States that's not a field or even a program, a university program that's often promoted, especially for people of color. I have a friend who studied forestry and another friend who studied agriculture, and now they're doing careers that are in different fields other than what they studied in college. So I think it's interesting that
he dropped off. Let's give him a chance to come back on. You know, there's some technical difficulties with the internet, but we'll get through it. He's back.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I had to refresh the page just now. So you know the technicalities are, you know, I didn't hear the question. But you know, repetition through instructions are necessary at times. So
they say that.
That's how you create good habits through repetition.
Repetition.
So Juan, can you ask the question again, please?
So, well, I'll jump to my third one just in case we get disconnected again. I was actually trying to go somewhere, but I will ask this: how do you go from education to politics?
Okay, in education, you pretty much had the opportunity to go across it's a multifaceted approach when you're an educator, and you pretty much look at all aspects of society, and in so doing, it is not unusual for one to develop a likeness in terms of a particular discipline. The course of educating students and managing an educational institution allows you the opportunity to serve in different capacities. Politically, our political representation has to do largely with service, and having experienced the type of service that you do within an educational system, it's easy to transition from that into a political career, which heavily requires depend on an approach that is service driven. And it was easy for me to twin both, because through those two areas, you're able to serve a wider group of stakeholders at different levels, and look at different problems, come up with different solutions that are able to address some of these issues. The call to political representation came largely from within the geographical space that I operate, where individuals saw the type of work that was being done at the institution and thought, hey, this guy would be a good guy to actually represent us at the local level, because the transformational leadership that was brought to the facility to turn it around in a short period of time, as it relates to academics, discipline, growth, as it relates to infrastructural improvements, they too felt that some of this could have actually been done within the same geographical space through political representation. The good thing in our system of governance is that you are able to pretty much engage in both areas at the same time. So that in itself also have facilitated the decision to actually do both. So it is a lot more work. It is a lot more demand, but it allows for greater outputs in terms of what is happening in the space. So pretty much, that decision was driven by what I've said in terms of.
All right. You're back. There was a quick break there, but you're right back where you belong, right back on the line. But Mark, you got the answer you're looking for
yes,
there?
Yes. Yeah. Very clear.
My question to you, I know this is the principal I'm talking to, right? Principal James. I attended your school some time ago, the school that you're the principal of right now. And can you bring us up to date and what is going on at Little London High School? Can you talk to us about that? What can you share with us? Or there are many people that will be watching this and listen to this conversation, and they won't know anything about Little London High School. So can you talk about school?
You scared me a little bit when you say you attended Little London High School, because I was about to ask if I taught you.
Yeah, you're the principal.
But yes, you visited.
I was a student
Yes,
there
Doc.
when I was a
The
student.
Little London High School. Yeah, yes. Little London High School today has come a very far way. It started off not as a high school, but as a junior secondary school, and it was reclassified to um, secondary school, and then it was reclassified to high school. Over that transitional period, we are not necessarily seeing the type of infrastructural growth that would come with reclassifying an institution in terms of expanding its curriculum offerings and increasing its population as it relates to the cohort, as it relates to the staffing, etc. But the school continues to grow. The school has done well over the years in terms of producing some exceptional Jamaicans who have served well here and abroad in the diaspora. The school continues to cater for many students who society would have been left behind and probably could not be placed at other institutions. The school offers a wide range of programs because we do take students in at different levels, at different grade levels. The ideal thing would be for us to have students coming in who are functioning at the grade levels that we teach, which is from 7 to 12. However, we do have cases where we have many who fall below the grade 7 levels, but we still have to put in intervention programs to have them do catch up, so to speak. For me, the main objective is to ensure that any student that comes through the door of Little London High School leave being in a position where they are functionally literate. And once we're able to achieve that, you pretty much have allowed them an opportunity to grow and expand. But if we fail to allow them to be functionally literate leaving the institution, then in my view, would have failed them as a society. The school continues to benefit from organizations such as GHN, who have done significant work, volunteerism work within the institution that would have assisted many students who were unfortunate in terms of not having certain basic basic things that are necessary for schooling. And that program has impacted the lives of many, and today we're actually seeing the benefits of that. The school continued to benefit in ways that we have never seen for a very long time. I'll give you one typical example. The school recently had some of the worst bathroom facilities within the geographical space, and through interventions from programs like yours and with all those wonderful donors and the volunteers, today I can proud that we got a visit 2 weeks ago from a team of 18 individuals from the regional office at the Ministry of Education. And they came, the senior education officer along with his team came and highlighted the Little London High School bathroom facilities as one of the best they have seen, having visited many high schools within the region. And for this, it might sound like it's not a big deal, but it is, because these type of presentations generates what we call interpersonal or extrinsic motivating factors to students. That yes, you're rural, but you can run and operate a facility that when those who come in from the urban space visit you, they can actually highlight you as something positive and use it as a benchmark to pretty much sell it to others. The school continues to expand its curriculum offerings, and we are pushing a lot of vocational based education. And we tend to encourage students not only to focus on the academic side, where they only look at getting a certification in the academics, but we are trying to also balance that with skills so that you leave with the required academic background, but at the same time, you leave with a skill. Because at the end of the day, we have so many institutions at the high school levels that really produce students who can produce certificates. But on the practical side of things, we are woefully lacking in many areas that we are now suffering as a country in terms of not being able to find enough plumbers, enough electricians, and so forth. So Little London want to be a game changer in that space where we gradually and incrementally increase our numbers and ensure that those who come through our door get the best opportunity. So when they leave the school, they are not necessarily at the professional level, but they are trainable. And once we let them through our doors, being in a position where they are trainable, then they'll always have a good opportunity to continue.
Mhm. Well, what percentage of the students graduating from Little London High School go on to higher education, colleges, universities?
As it is now, we have approximately about 35% that would tend to go on to the tertiary institution. You have another 55% that will go on to the vocational training base institution. Then the other percentage take up none of those offers. Some of them will return back to access remedial programs or social programs. So pretty much we still have a big job to do in trying increasing that number, but we are heading in the right direction based on our statistics.
I imagine before you came there, those numbers were much lower. So you would have done a lot to get it to where it is now.
Yes, the school had many challenges. So when I took over in 2012, I'll give you an example. The school really had so many issues as it relates to discipline that we had areas where we had to have like police officers in the safe school programs being on the campus on a daily basis to help manage the whole aspect of discipline. We had cases where we had no day that we didn't go without some form of gang related fights, whether it's on the campus or on the streets. Sometimes those spill over into the wider communities. The reputation of the school in terms of perception, because we all know from where we sit as individuals that perception is people's reality. And if they perceive something to be good, then without careful evaluation, they accept it. So the perception over a number of years has been changing in the right direction. Hence, we have been able to attract students who are performing at higher levels. We were able. We can proudly say we are the first high school in Westmoreland that got its own school bus and implemented its own school bus transportation program that was fully funded by the school itself. When this was done, the ministry approached us and asked us to explain how we did it. And from our model, our neighboring school, Manning's High School, was able to also implement something similar. So we have improved significantly on the discipline. We have improved significantly on the perception of the school. Something that no other high school in the country has done, which was we banned motorbikes from actually traversing the space. About a mile and a half, no motorbikes are allowed to traverse that space, where we had to, because we had high levels of accidents. Students were being injured frequently. We have cases where students are now living in camp, like crippled from reckless riding of these bikes. And decision was done and made to ban those bikes. It was advised not to approach it that way, but we did it as a team, and it was successful. And it was something that was celebrated across the country, because everybody was really surprised that as a rural-based school located where we are, where one of the major mode transport is bikes, we were able to ban the very bikes from coming into the space. This also lifted the actual standing of the school, where we got more stakeholders to come on board and give us support. So gradually, we are growing the facility. We have established, again, through strong support from our international partners, a beautiful PE department, and we are now launching some good physical education programs. So you can look out for us in the Headley Cup cricket coming up. Look out for us in the Augusta Cup football coming up. And, we are working to try and create the space and give the kids the best opportunity possible.
And so we're having a conversation with Principal James, principal of Little London High School in Westmoreland, Jamaica. And pretty soon we'll be talking to Councillor James. This man wears so many different hats. So we're going to switch up the conversation. But before we do that, Donna and Juan, do you have any questions for Principal James?
I was just going to ask, you touched on something earlier when you were talking about the issues with discipline and behavior when you first took on the school. So I was going to ask, are SROs not a common thing in your region? School resource officers, do y'all have those?
Yes, we do have. They are normally placed in schools that tend to have high levels of indiscipline. However, in addition to to those, we do have what we call the dean of discipline, where they are placed within the respective schools to actually help in terms of the disciplinary aspects of the institutions. So we do have those support programs.
Okay.
But we are doing so well disciplinary wise now that the SOs don't really come into our space anymore.
Got you.
Yeah.
So in place of having
Yeah,
SROs, you have the dean of discipline.
Right, but you do have both.
Okay.
You do have both.
No.
Yeah, you have the school resource officers from the JCF side.
Donna, you said something the other day on our program, and you was talking about the students at Little London High School. You had an experience there. Do you want to share that with Principal James?
Oh my gosh. my first time, well, my first time ever visiting Westmoreland to begin with was going to Little London High School. And I've never, even though I'm from Jamaica, that was my first time actually going to that side of the island. And it was just an incredible experience. But at the school itself, you know, I found that the initiative that we had where we were doing the food drive and, you know, packing out the food and sorting it and all that stuff, I found that the children were, I mean, I was excited. You know, I know that there may have been like, you know, issues with discipline, but I found those children to be so loving, so engaging, wanting to be a part of what was happening. And they were so happy to just jump in and help. And I think you know, the way they interacted with their schoolmates and knowing that they were helping each other, it was really, I mean, it was really amazing. Like those kids, they were taking off their shirts, jumping in the barrel, taking out groceries, sorting, packing, you know, and just even conversations that I had with some of the kids where, you know, you talk about like, what do you want to do in the future? What do you see yourself doing? You know, and just having those open dialogues and realizing the things that they want to do and the dreams that they have. It's just like every single child, they just need the opportunity. They just need opportunities. And it was a really amazing experience. Like I really enjoyed visiting.
There you go. Talking about your students, Principal James.
Oh, students, they are your adopted kids, you know.
Yeah. Like, let me tell
Your
you. Okay,
mentor, your
let me
mentors.
let me share. Like, I remember one specific conversation that I was having with a little girl, and it was something having to do with her phone, right? Whatever happened, whatever transpired, and her teacher had to take her cell phone, right? And then she was telling me all about the phone, and the phone was giving her problems before, and da da da, you know, all this stuff, and it was overheating. So I told her, I was like, well, maybe it's a good thing that, you know, the phone was overheating and the teacher took the phone because probably would have caught fire on you anyway. And she's like, but she needs it, and, you know, all that stuff. Anyway, after we got through the whole conversation of the phone, she was telling me how she would love to do gymnastics. You know, like that's her passion. She loves to do that, but there's not a program for that. And then she's like, she would love to come back and she would love to be the principal of the school. And she would love to see all the country's national heroes in the school. It was really, really, really a very interesting conversation with this little girl. I don't know, maybe she was like in 8th grade or something.
And wanting to take away Principal James' job.
He was ready to take your job. He was ready to take your job. But she loved her school. But she loved her school.
I'll just stick to the counselor.
Well, you know, I haven't been there more than once, you know, working with Principal James, and not just, you know, when we're implementing the initiative, but in the planning and, you know, and execution of it. You know, he's been nothing but great support, and that's the person we needed at the time. So, you know, what else can we say about his leadership there? Before we take a break, though, I want to talk about that same event that you mentioned earlier, Donna. I'm going to bring it back up on the screen because I want Principal James to share his thoughts about this event as we are getting ready to launch it. Yeah, so we're talking about the walkathon coming up, Principal James. Do you want to chime in on this?
My favorite time of the year. The last time we participated in the walkathon, I think it was a resounding success from where the school standpoint is. The good thing is that we have a physical education department where fitness is part of the curriculum now, where they push, where they're actually pushing that as something that is being marketed aggressively to the students. The fact is that the way in which the organized approach of the walkathon and the way it is being marketed has always been such that it extrinsically drives motivation. And I did indicate at some point that I would be meeting with a team to look at it, and we met at a short meeting today, despite the time not necessarily being a lot of time. You know, everybody's excited about participating and being a part of this year's 5K fun walkathon. So from where we stand at Little London High School, we will be doing very well in terms of the numbers and those who are interested in signing up to participate. So the idea is that we do it not only for fun, but it is the initiative and the purpose of doing it also that is really driving persons to have a passion to want to be a part of it. And I have no doubt that we're going to do our part to make sure that this year's 5K fun walkathon will be one that is successful. So we are already here in Jamaica, we are already here in Little London High, and we will be doing the necessary groundwork to ensure that we have the high level of participation on the day itself.
And that is June 22nd,
So,
2024.
a date not to be missed.
Need not to be missed. So, Principal James, you know, we're going to ask you to take on a little bit more than Little London High School. What we'd like to see is if you could engage some other principals in Westmoreland to get involved with the walkathon. Because the benefit of doing that is every dollar you raise at your school, you retain it to do something at your school. So if it is possible and you can, if you could engage some of your other principal friends to get involved with this, we would truly appreciate it if that is possible.
You let the bird out of the cage. I wanted to give a report. That was actually suggested in the meeting, but I wanted to give a report when we got some confirmations. But we are getting high interest coming in from at least 3 principals already, and we are just waiting on those confirmations. So
awesome.
we want, when we report, we are reporting success.
Success. All right.
Having said that, that's the direction in which we're heading, because after all, it's a global approach, and good things should never be sheltered. It should be spread and encouraged, and it's something that is important, and it does a multiple. You know, it does a number of things. One, it encourages good health practices, and it encourages persons to develop a mindset that, you know, they should always try and be their brother's keeper. It teaches responsibility, it teaches them how to care for others, and at the same time, they're actually addressing or helping some of the internal problems that needs financing. So it's a win for everybody. You know, and I see this, once we maintain the type of organization and drive that we have now and improve on it, I think this can go very big. I think it can eventually spread across the country, globally, and have a powerful mark and put in the minds of the people something that is different, you know. So we are going to make it happen. We will make it happen.
But I know, just announcing it, you're the kind of man that when you're under pressure, you perform very well. So we wanted to put that out there. So now the whole world knows that we want other schools involved. So I know you will deliver just by having it out there in the public space. Because that's what we have seen before. You work so well under pressure, you know. So we've also expanded the scope of the purpose of the walkathon. Initially, we talk about those black tanks, right? 1 gallon. We're also now, Donna came up with that brilliant idea, and I let
1,000 gallon.
1,000 gallon tanks. Well, Donna came up with another suggestion, and we're going to implement it as well. Donna, you want to talk about that?
Oh yes, that we want to add the sanitary towels to this initiative as well, because we know that it is something that is very needed for the young girls, and it actually impacts them coming to school, attending school, because if they don't have certain things that they need for that period of time during the month, they may not attend classes. So we want to, you know, definitely, that's the important initiative.
So more work to do. A bigger, you know, greater scope. So I think this is a good time to take a quick break and then come back and talk to Councillor James. All right. So Donna, do you want me to roll the video or will you roll it?
I'll roll it.
Roll the video.
A collision with purpose. In pursuit of purpose.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Why did you have to cut that song off, Donna? I'm just getting into it and you shut it down. My goodness. I saw Principal James bop in the head and then you had to cut it off. My goodness. Let it play next time, okay?
Great instrumental, yeah.
Welcome back to Bridging Generations, Voices of Men. We're in conversation with not Principal James anymore, Councillor Garfield James. And I want to read something before we get into this, right? I have been provided an excellent opportunity to live in my purpose through service. I'm the steward of a wide section of Westmoreland that extends into Little Bay to Jerusalem and to the areas of Negril. The opportunities there are enormous. I get to interface with so many individuals. I hear their concerns and suggestions and can guide them in directions that can be used to address their needs, especially some of the infrastructural problems they face. All right, talk to us, Councillor James. What is that all about?
Okay. Well, in my capacity as a counselor, for the listeners who might not know, I presently am the counselor for the Sheffield Division in Western Westmoreland. The parish is actually divided into 3 constituencies: Eastern, Central, and Western. I'm on the western side of the parish, where I serve from the Western constituency. And the Western constituency consists of 5 divisions. So there are 5 councillors who serve within that constituency under the Member of Parliament. I currently serve as a councillor for the Jamaica Labour Party. So the area that is really covered within that division really comprises of 23 communities. And those 23 communities really is a wide geographical spread. So in other words, the Sheffield Division, for which I'm the councillor, is actually the largest division within the constituency. There are many issues that the constituents face in terms of problems, whether it's on the social side, on domestic side, on the infrastructural side, and on the service delivery side. The fact is that there are great improvements. There are some areas within the division that enjoy good facilities, whether it's the infrastructural and service delivery. And when we say service delivery, we're talking about services such as potable water, such as the telecommunication side of things, good roads, etc., electricity. But then there are other areas within the particular geographical spread or within the division that lacks some of these. And going and being able to traverse the respective communities, you learn so much or so many of the respective situations that face these individuals that you get a first-hand experience, and from that you're able to write programs, you're able to make recommendations, and you're able to seek the type of intervention that is necessary, whether it's from a social standpoint or whether it's from a program-driven standpoint. However, the magnitude of the work that is required to be done is such that it is not necessarily easy or can be achieved in any one particular request. But it is also an opportunity that you get to make corrective steps and improve and build capacity, and also allow them to actually create opportunities for themselves. So being the counselor really provides that overall understanding of what the constituents or the residents within the division face on a day-to-day basis, and the type of program planning, whether it's short-term or long-term, that is needed to fix some of these challenges. So the work continues, the work is always there. There's always something else to do. And hence, if you're not driven extrinsically, it can sometimes become a very depressive job. But you have to have a passion for service and wanting to see change in people's lives, wanting to see better for persons, and those areas always keep you focused and keep driving you to wanting work even harder. And that's pretty much what is required to really, keep going as a political representative, wanting to see the people's lives improve.
You said something that when you see poor infrastructure and you look at the amount of money that leaves the parish in terms of taxation against what comes back as investment, you realize the disparity is huge and must be carefully examined. That was your words.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I stand by them.
You live in a parish where there's so much tourism going on, right? Lots of money been made in that parish, but how much of that is really staying?
Not much of it, and this is something where we need to have more debate on it. I think there needs to be a restructuring of how the areas that generate income, and when we say generate income, we're talking about billions of dollars being generated, and a lot of that is not being reinvested, and a lot of that is not staying in the space. So while the space, based on its natural beauty, based on what is there as a product, is actually generating significant amount of monies, you are not actually seeing a balance. And I think is something that has to be debated for some policy shift and policy changes to be made. So where we earn significantly, there should be greater emphasis placed on some specifics in terms of what takes place as development. So while you grow and you earn and you are successful, the areas in which you are doing this should also grow and be successful. So there should be a building of capacity, whether it's in infrastructure, whether it's in services, and so forth. So that has always been a concern of mine, and it is something that I have raised and will continue to advocate for, to ensure that at some point changes are made to how the of the areas that are earning significantly, how those areas are treated, and what is mandatory or what is required to be spent back in those areas to ensure that we can preserve those natural resources that are there and those attractions. So it is something that worth debating and looking at on a serious basis.
Absolutely, absolutely. Donna and Juan, feel free to jump in. I know you have questions for Councillor James. And again, we're having conversation with Councillor James, Councillor for Sheffield Division in Western Westmoreland, Jamaica. And Donna and Juan, please feel free to jump in the conversation.
So I guess I could Mike probably make a statement first and then a question, right? I don't really know a whole lot about politics. However, so is the area, so I can understand better, is the area get their finances through the taxes that is being paid through tourism and things of that nature? Is that how the money comes into the area? That would basically
No,
the locations. Like how does your actually get finances to where it can put back into the community for things like infrastructure, social programs? How is that money being funded? How do you get that money?
Now, let me realign your question. how do you get how are funds allocated to you as a councillor to spend and and to do initiatives in your division?
Or anyone else?
Okay. Councillor. Yeah. Councillors. Well, there are two arms of government. There is the central government and there is the local government. Councillors are actually under the management of the local government ministry. And so the funding comes from a central ministry, which is the Ministry of Local Government, to the respective municipal corporations. And that's how the funding comes into the space, and then it's allocated to the respective divisions. But the funding that comes in is grossly inadequate. And this is where we're saying no, it's not necessarily a case where all municipal corporations might be in a position to receive the same level of funding. So there should be some degree of assessment where for example, let's look at, say, Negril as a community that really drives a large part of the economic activities in Westmoreland. But when you look at Negril as a community and look at the number of hoteliers that are there in terms of small hotels, large hotels, when you traverse the space, you are not seeing the type of development over the decades that should really be balanced with what takes place in terms of the funds that are generated within its local space. So, I'm saying we need to look at some policy changes as to how we allocate on the basis of priority and the basis of needs. But all funding for respective divisions comes through the Ministry of Local Government.
So there's not much reciprocity in terms of money's going out and money's coming in from these businesses. These businesses were operating.
No.
That's the issue. It's the problem.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's a big problem as well. And
so let me give you for example. For example, the government operates what is called a consolidated fund, right? So where monies through whether it's taxation or duties are paid into that particular fund and it's used for specific purposes. Why can't we have, for example, the community of Negril have a consolidatory fund for that particular year, just quote unquote, and then based on the revenues that are being generated, some percentage of those are paid into that fund, and that fund goes back to building capacity, expanding infrastructure, and creating something that is unprecedented, So that's why I said it needs to be debated and looked at, and it can be addressed and approached differently.
I want to step up there and say we need to act on it and do something about it. It's been talked about and with no action, right? So debate, yes,
Right.
but debate intentional way to have results, and results aimed at solving the problem. That's lacking, and that's not a good thing. It's been like that ever since. No matter who's in the government, what party is in power, it's been the same thing. No matter what party is in power.
Right.
So that's something that must be addressed. Because if you look at the state living conditions in the parish for a lot of people, so much need for improvement there, right? So much need for improvement. Another issue that I want to talk about is the healthcare system. And this is a problem right throughout Jamaica, not just Little London or Westmoreland. It's everywhere. What's your take on that healthcare system?
The healthcare system that we operate here in Jamaica is First, let me say, based on our GDP, based on our population, based on the number of hospitals that we have, etc., and clinics, etc., we have done well in terms of if COVID, for example, was any benchmark to measure or judge us, I can say that we operate at international standards, and we tend to do well in many areas. But despite that, there are major issues as it relates to our healthcare system in terms of being able to deal with we have a capacity problem, and we have an infrastructural problem, and we also have a funding problem. And it is not necessarily easy with the as a what you call it, not a manufacturing economy, to really offer free healthcare in Jamaica. As it is now, we have a free healthcare system, and the necessary funding to maintain and operate a free healthcare system speaks to an economy that has to be performing very well, and hence you are able to do very well healthcare wise. But the healthcare system in Jamaica has a long way to go. There's a lot of improvements that are needed. But at the same time, there's a lot of hardworking healthcare practitioners that do so much with very little and continue to keep our population healthy in many ways. But there has to be, in my view, a comprehensive look at it with some experts that would be able to do a detailed analysis of the sector and look at the viability of it short term and long term, and the type of planning that we need going forward to be able to seriously and adequately take care of the population. I'll give you a quick example. The Savlamar General Hospital was constructed many decades ago. And when it was constructed, what was the population of Westmoreland at the time? What was the population of Westmoreland 30 years ago compared to now? What is the facility looking like, then and now? And the type of maintenance and constant investment in the sector is woefully lacking over the decades. So you find that we are playing catch up, and really and truly here in Westmoreland, we need another facility. We need another hospital, something that is a state of the art. I'm longing for the day that, and I've always stated it, and that I think we can get to the point that when you enter an all-inclusive hotel and you enter the lobby, if you weren't feeling well, you're starting to feel better because you feel like you're at a place where you're going to enjoy rest and vacation. When you enter the hospital, sometimes just the aesthetic of the place, the ambience and so forth, it doesn't encourage the type of wealth that you want to portray or to experience. So we need to lift the standards, but it's not. It's easier to say than achieve. But with hard work and planning and a process of consistent process, looking at the sector and working and doing the investment I think over time we can improve significantly. But it's not a quick fix.
Not a quick fix, and it's a fix that's been it's a problem that's existed for a long time now, and at some point it seemed like they've neglected it, and now there's this urgency to fix it. I was there in Jamaica a few weeks ago, and my experience with that, a friend of ours went to Savannah Lamar Hospital, and 8 hours later they were still in a wheelchair waiting to be seen. It was a very bad condition, and that's common, somewhat common, I hear. So as you rightfully said, there's much work to be done with that. Not an easy fix, but our leaders must have the will and the courage and wanting to change it and do something about it. And that's something that's been lacking for some time. So someone like you, and the kind of leader you are, and I know your commitment will be there, and you will definitely have the will and the courage. But we've been lacking that. There's no talk, going around that. We've been lacking that. They fix roads, big roads built all over the country. That's their priority, right? We have highways popping up everywhere. That's a priority. Hospitals, healthcare needs to be a priority as well. It needs to happen.
Well, to be fair to the government, there are significant investments going into healthcare now. I mean, in St. Catherine, there will be, I think, over $1 billion spent in constructing a brand new state-of-the-art hospital. There have been many renovations of primary healthcare facilities across the country. The Montego Bay Regional Hospital is being renovated. There's a new wing there being built for pediatric wing being built. So there are many significant investment going on. But as I said, it's not a quick fix, and there's still a lot of work to be done. And the fact is that this has to be done and balanced with the idea that it's a free healthcare system, because despite you go to the hospital and you wait in a wheelchair, it is free. If it was a case where you had to pay, then probably you would have that many persons rushing in all at once. But the fact is that, somebody get a slight cut on their finger and end up at the hospital at the emergency area waiting to be seen or to be. So there are some logistic things that needs to be looked at. But as I said, it needs a comprehensive evaluation and to look as to how we can incrementally fix some of these concerns and so forth. But it's not going to happen overnight, but it is something that we have to look at, because health is your wealth. And if we have an educated nation and they're not healthy, then, we ain't going to have wealth.
Won't be sustainable, right?
Yeah. So it's...
It must be a priority. Your people, their health.
It has to be.
It's almost like they could have a lower level of emergent, like here, how you have urgent care before you get to that emergent, that emergency type level.
Yeah, right. And I'm very concerned. Although so many with the whole decriminalization, not only here in Jamaica but globally, there's a different approach to even marijuana use, and there you find that it is being driven in so many different sectors. It is that then globally the alcohol industry is $1 trillion industry. You find that when you combine all of these, you're ending up with so many more sick young individuals, whether it's from excessive alcohol consumption or excessive exposure to these decriminalized herbs. So you find that you're getting a lot more young sick people in the system developing hypertension, diabetes, etc., etc. But we also have to push the education side of things as it relates to what is good health care practices, and because everything adds up. You educate a nation, but they don't take care of themselves health wise. Their lifespans are reduced, their productivity are reduced, and you keep going back to the drawing board. Persons are living longer based and they have access to health care and medication, but a sick nation is not able to be productive at their true potential. So all of these things adds up incrementally to affect the success of a country. So it's a lot to look at, and I know that as a country we have the will, and if we have the type of leadership that is able to use a process of gradualism and sustain it with the right approach, I think time, if some of us are willing to have what we call delay gratification. Everybody wants instant. But if all of us strive for instant gratification, we are going to fail the next generation. So it opens a wider discussion as to where are we with values and attitude. It is something that we need to revisit as it relates to values and attitude and how we look at long-term planning for the country. I'll give you an example. Almost 30 years ago, when I started to plant, when I went into forestry, and I started with my first 10 acres of cedar and mahogany, I was laughed at, like literally laughed at. I mean, youngsters at my age was saying to me at the time, I'm planting these trees for their grandchildren. And now I can actually go on a plot and I'm going to take down 10 acres of cedar and mahogany, and immediately that's income. So we have to also, a part of the success of any country is also planning for long term, and it means that some of us won't be able to enjoy everything at this stage, but we have to be able to be willing to sacrifice, to put in the work now, so that we can secure a better future for the next generation. So that's also something that we need to look at carefully.
Absolutely. We're running out of time, Councillor James, but I want to touch a little bit on crime, and specifically in the Western, in Westmoreland in general. And I know that's a concern that you have as well. So,
okay,
what outlook? What's the outlook there? Your outlook?
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. We are here now, and we are global, but crime and violence, I want all of us to think about it. Who do we blame for crime and violence? Who should we blame for crime and violence? Who are the producers of crime and violence? Those are some questions that we need to ask ourselves. Let's look specifically at Westmoreland. Westmoreland have many communities within it. It is impossible to have boots on the ground that would be able to cover all the communities. It's not possible in the States. It's not possible anywhere. So it means that we have a bigger problem. And that bigger problem goes back to what is called socialization. And as we know it, socialization is the process of bringing the kids in a particular way, right? And learning the ways of thought and behavior which is appropriate to the society. we are failing to do a good job at socializing the youngsters. We are not doing very well at it. We are failing in the schools because in the schools, you have an issue with another student, and the first thing that comes to mind is you fight it out. You punch the other boy punches you, and it resorts to violence. Now, if we are failing to realize this, children live what they learn. And if within the schools we are failing to inculcate the values and attitudes and the type of socialization that is necessary for the betterment of a society, how then when they leave that system and come to society as young adults, we are going to see any different? They are going to play and act out the same type of value system that they came out with. So I think we need to revisit how we are teaching and how we are socializing and how we are bringing up the kids as it relates to the values and attitude, because they don't have the respect within the school, within those age groups, then is the same thing that spills over into the society. Two persons in a bar having a drink, right there now in the grill, and one have a argument with the other over something, and instead of having a discussion around it, you know, if they have a weapon, the weapon might be drawn. If they don't, then they might resort to some other degree of violence. And a lot of this is what is fueling the type of crime and violence that we are seeing. We have a lot of the violence being communicated has to do with revenge. It has to do with reprisals. If you look at the statistics of robbery, it is far lower than what persons would think in terms of leading to some of the type of crimes and murders that are being committed. So a big part of our problem is our value system. I mean, all of us who are on now, if we have a dispute and we have an argument, we will argue it out, but the first thing not going to come to our mind that, boy, I'm going to shoot you for you disrespect me. Or you damage the property, so I'm going to get back at you. So we have to revisit that and look carefully at that, because that in itself, you can't police an entire society, but you can try to punish. A society has to be driven and guided by the principles and the value system that they have. And within a good value system, you are still going to have issues of crime and violence. But the higher rate at which we are seeing it is because we have lost our true sense of identity. Hence, the value systems that we have are no longer what it used to be. So you find that the respect is not there among individuals. The respect is not there for people's property. And everybody wants instant gratification. And that has to do with value and the value system that we are promoting. So there's a lot of work to be done. And that is why I'm saying that some of us will not be able to enjoy a certain aspect of it, but we have to put a program that will know, start the work to ensure that the next generation can improve and be better than we are. But if we don't, we're going to continue on this trajectory of having high crimes, because you can't police the entire society.
Yeah, you certainly cannot, and boots on the ground won't solve the problem, because you have to look at causation, of course. And somewhere in there, parenting, there's something about parenting as well when we talk about this stuff, you know. And we understand that this case, we're running out of time, but I have one more thing. I want to talk about voter apathy. What's your take on that?
Yes.
Is enough people participating in the process?
No, and that is why, for me, No, we don't, and it's a very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing in my view. In a democracy, if you have less persons participating in any political process, it creates a greater room for poor governance, because it's easier for any political party to control and use a small percentage of that to either maintain power or achieve their objectives. If you have a wider percentage of participation, then it's much harder for you to really control any particular group. You would have to know come with manifestos, and you will have to know achieve objectives in terms of those manifestos. So people will know they are participating at high levels. They're actually voting on the basis of achievements in terms of management, in terms of what has been done in terms of a manifesto thing. But you know, maybe we're going to reach a point in the society where we'll have to make voting mandatory. So once you reach the age of adult suffrage, you have to vote. No, if you don't vote,
We froze.
that's fine. I'm saying if we continue on this trajectory in terms of low voter turnout, we might reach a point where we have to craft a policy and looking at voting becoming mandatory, because you can't have a democracy and don't have the population participating in it.
What do you think is contributing to this low voter turnout?
It has to do with the belief. It has to do with how the population sees politics and how they see politicians. It has to do with representation, and it has to do with achievements, and it has to do with purpose. So a lot of voters or possible voters don't believe in the political process because they don't see it working for them. They don't see a new road to drive on. They don't see the potable water coming in their space. And they don't see the type of representation that they can, you know, say, yes, I believe in this individual. And politicians are normally perceived to be persons who are corrupt, persons who are biased, as well as, you know, politicians are seen as persons who are doing a good job, but it has to do with how a lot of them view it, and a lot of them look at it in negative ways, since there's no motivation. They are not driven. They are not driven, you know, driven to move, to vote, because there's no motivation as it relates to them. And a lot of them, okay, I voted the last time because you said you were going to fix the road, but the road not fixed, so why should I vote? So it has to do with your ability to deliver what you put in your manifestos, and what you set out as target. And when you miss the targets, you pretty much lose support. And finally, on that, one of the simplest word that can be used, which is so powerful, is hope. If as a politician or a party or a government, you don't generate or create hope within the minds of people, then you're not going to get their support. Because having hope leads to belief, And if they don't believe in you, then you're not going to get them support.
Mhm.
So it's important to be able to create hope in the minds of the people. And you create hope by putting forward good representation that they can believe in. And that is something that we need to look at carefully.
Very carefully, like of whole people check out the system, and that's what we've been experiencing. So that's a real problem, a very dynamic problem with a very challenging solution. So big deal there, big deal. We're going to take it a few more minutes. Donna, is there a question? One, you've been listening. One is not from Jamaica, and we're talking about Jamaica primarily, but we're talking about leadership, and leadership is across the board, no matter where you live. One. So, is there a question? One for Councillor James, almost at Principal James.
I don't have any more questions, but I will say that it's been very interesting listening to this conversation, this discussion. Just hearing what goes on across the waters. Because a lot of the stuff that's going on that he's listed, discussed, I've experienced, witnessed, watched, and just even read about going here in the States. So it's interesting seeing what goes on in Jamaica that's going on here. And then being this close to talking with the representative, who has a seat, so it's actually inspiring as well, because what you're doing is quite an interest of mine. To have a seat, at the table, to do something and be a part of the conversation that causes change in our educational system. So it's inspiring.
Yeah, so he dared to participate, right?
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Well, so Councillor James, is there anything else you would like to add? Anything else that you didn't get a chance to, talk about, to say? And
listen, Doc, you're not going to have me on your program, and listen, you have to give me another chance. Bring me on another day, man. I have so much more I want to say. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be on. It was really a pleasure. I felt like you guys were right here in the room with me, even though you're so far away. I think we had a good conversation. I can recall what Donna said. I sat there and I listened to her sharing her experience, and I realized she was very passionate about what she experienced at the time, because it was real. It wasn't a script. And some of the greatest experiences is when you encounter individuals that really just express themselves as they are. It's a great program. I love it. Just keep it up, and you have a great course. This can only grow from strength to strength, and I was happy to be a part of this.
One thing I'll say about what Donna said, right? So when things go south, go bad, we blame leaders, right?
Definitely.
When things work and go well, as Donna described, we got to credit the leaders. So all credit to you and your staff at the school. Because I too experience what Donna was sharing with our viewers and our listeners, that I was so inspired. Those students inspired me, motivated me. Especially those cadets that you have there. And it's a shame we didn't get a chance to talk about them. But they did, and their cadet leader, the support we received while we were at Little London High School made us want to do more, made us want to work. Those kids, they were awesome, and credit to you and your staff, because there are other experiences out there where it's not always that way. You go to some schools and it's a different experience, but that is not what we experienced at Little London High School. So all credit should go to you and your staff. So when things go bad, we blame leaders.
I'll definitely convey that message.
Please do.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Donna, you wanna? And Donna, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Donna is my co-host in the Spotlight on Monday show, but she was so gracious and kind to depart and come from backstage and help us out tonight. And what a how much value did she add, right? So we really appreciate that, Donna. But Donna, any closing words from you?
I just want to definitely commend Councillor James and Principal James all in one for the work that you're doing, and my blessings go out to you. You will accomplish a lot of the things that you want to accomplish because your heart is really in the right place, and serving is very important, right? So I definitely commend you. It's hard work that you're doing because you're in such the school space, the politics space, but I think the two can coincide and you can see positive results. So it was a pleasure being here with you, and definitely learning more about the political system in Jamaica was enlightening as well. But just like Juan said, we do face some of the similar challenges here as well. So it is something that I think across the board we all need to look at with how we interact with the youth and how we're treating them as parents and individuals. And even if you're not parents, just having day-to-day interactions with children, right? How important that can be. So, thank you all for having me here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's turn it over to my co-host, Juan. Closing arguments.
Just pretty much everything that Donna just said. Very enlightening, inspiring. The work, I commend you. I'll say this: our superintendent said this morning. He said to us, "It's not hard work; it's hard work." And I can definitely tell, and I like how you said what you're doing. Some may not get to experience, but someone has to start the work so that other generations can pick it up. And so that's exactly what it's about. So we appreciate you being committed to the hard work, and making it look, and we know it's not easy, but making it look so easy because we know it takes heart, so we're definitely commendable, and you appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Juan. And thank you, Juan, for your contribution to this platform, all that you do. Tonight we're missing two of our guest hosts, and I'm also recovering from my whatever I have. But I want to say, Principal James, Councillor James, my friend, we've done much work together. We have. And not because we work together, of course, I have to ask you real questions, right? But yeah. I think that, you're the kind of leader that Western Westmoreland, Sheffield, Jamaica need at this particular time. The problems in Jamaica are many, and they're many for a number of reasons. There are many because of voter apathy, despondency all around in the general population, failed leadership everywhere, every single element of the culture of the society, But with that said, with the right leaders, with the courage and the will to make tough decisions, I heard you say that if people are not willing to participate in the process, maybe there should be some type of, I don't know if it's admonishment or whatever it is.
Mandatory.
So mandatory means that if you don't do it, something will happen, right?
Yeah, it's becomes mandatory to vote, or you pay a fine,
Or a fine. I'm not sure how that would work in a free society.
You get a ticket. You don't wear a seatbelt. You don't wear a seatbelt. You get a ticket. You don't vote. You get a ticket.
But I think that the numbers definitely need to come up.
Yeah, definitely.
There are problems there, and too many politicians, as a result of that, voter apathy is getting a free pass. Getting a free pass. You know, if you can figure out your loyal voters, you'll always win.
Always.
Win. So my word to anyone who's listening, will ever listen to this broadcast, is get involved. Be a decision maker, and there's no better way to make a decision than to vote. If your leaders are not doing what they should be doing, get rid of them in a minute, right? If they're not doing what they should, and hold them accountable, hold them responsible. But that is their job, that's their duty, that's what they sign up for. So I really want to again say thank you, Mr. James, my friend. We'll have you back on when you're available. You're a busy man, but we truly appreciate you coming on tonight. And believe it or not, this is the longest show we have had. We've talked to you. And another thing, more people are logging on. There are more people logging on now as we're signing off. So that is interesting, right? There are more people logging on. The replay is going to be strong, you know. So, yeah, with that said, you know, just really appreciate you coming on and continue. Now, there's one other thing. Donna just texted me earlier, and she wanted to offer your school something. As if we have done, as if we haven't done enough at his school. Donna wanted to offer your staff Unearthing You a workshop.
Which in high school is the change agent.
And some of your students as well will be involved in that workshop.
Okay, beautiful. You're coming down for that? Yeah, okay.
We're gonna have to.
So all right, so no problem. I'll arrange a limo to pick you up.
Oh, look at here, Doc. We're getting a limo. No, it's not a limo. A car, regular car.
Yeah, what you would have to do is just you know, we can always talk off here as it relates to any particular time when you want to come, or you will come according to our staff development itinerary.
Okay.
So it also depends on your flexibility. But
yeah.
You know, we would never miss the opportunity of having you to take us through a staff development. So if it means I have to close down the school for the day and have the teachers being enriched by your experience, then so be it. But if you have given us the opportunity to meet with you, we'll definitely won't miss it.
Yeah, we'll pull it together. We'll make it work. Whatever we do, we will make it work. Well,
she just said it globally, so you know it has to happen.
Just like we're holding you accountable, because we said it globally that you will have other schools involved in this. We'll have other schools involved in this. It's
a win. It's a win. It's a win.
Yes. Lots of commitment, you know.
Yeah.
Lots of commitment tonight. So it's a win. We all win, right? We all win when we do work for others. How about that?
Definitely.
We all win.
Definitely.
Well, we have people signing on, but we have to sign off, unfortunately. We can't keep it any longer.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure. Principal James, can you stay backstage while we log off, please?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Donna, can you take us out? Take us out with Shella Topstar.
I was about to. All righty, here we go. Have a pleasant evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Blessings from Jamaica. This is Shella Topstar. Tonight I will be performing one of my latest singles entitled Far. Yeah. Now, this song is a reflection of my life. However, I believe that this song can also be a reflection of your life. Enjoy. Far me I come from, I me know where me I go. Far me I come from, I me know where me I go. Me see the aim, me I navigate to success. Working smart, no rest. Me I see the progress. Want to achieve, so me give it my best. Me I do my thing now, what's no one else. Some of them are still thought they were my friend.